Listen to me closely, because this might be the most important reminder you need right now. Life will always test you. The moment you set a goal, the moment you decide you want more for yourself, the world will push back. Distractions will pull at you. Doubt will creep in. Fear will whisper in your ear, it's not worth it. You don't have what it takes. And in those moments, when everything feels heavy and you're tempted to quit, I want you to stop and remember why you started. What was that fire inside of you? What did you see for yourself? Was it freedom? Was it the pride in your family's eyes? Was it proving to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses? That vision you had, it wasn't random. It wasn't luck. It was a calling, a glimpse of who you are meant to become. But here's the truth: dreams don't come alive just because you want them. They come alive because you stay the course, because you stick to the plan. Anybody can get excited in the beginning. Anybody can post about their goals. But few have the guts to keep going when it's boring, when it's tough, when no one is clapping for them. Winners aren't made when it's easy. They're forged in the dark hours when the only thing you can lean on is your discipline, your commitment, your why. So I'm asking you, will you honor the reason you started, or will you throw it away the moment it gets uncomfortable? Because every time you stay committed, every time you stick to the plan, you are rewriting your future. You are proving to yourself that you don't break, you bend, you adjust, but you do not quit. This is about becoming the kind of person who finishes what they start, the kind of person who doesn't just dream but delivers, the kind of person who takes pain, setbacks, and failures and turns them into fuel. Remember, the plan you created wasn't built on who you were. It was built on who you could become. Don't betray that version of yourself. Don't abandon the vision. When it gets tough, double down. When it feels impossible, remind yourself, you didn't come this far just to come this far. Stay locked in. Stay disciplined. Stay hungry. Because when you remember why you started, and when you stick to the plan, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you. Your why is your fuel. Without it, you quit when it gets hard. Think about it. Every single person starts with excitement, with enthusiasm, with energy that feels like it can never be shaken. In the beginning, there's this spark inside of you that pushes you to take the first step, to make the commitment, to dream bigger than you've ever allowed yourself to dream before. But that spark is fragile. That excitement fades when real life shows up, when setbacks hit, when the road doesn't unfold the way you imagined. And in those moments, when the weight gets heavy, when the progress feels slow, and when you begin to question yourself, the only thing that will carry you through is remembering why you started in the first place. That why is not just a reason, it's the fuel that keeps your fire alive. Without it, the first obstacle becomes a wall you don't climb. The first failure becomes proof that you weren't cut out for this, and the first setback becomes the excuse to walk away. Your why has to be bigger than your excuses, stronger than your fears, and louder than the voices telling you to give up. It has to be personal. It has to mean something to you so deeply that the thought of quitting feels like betrayal. If your why is weak, if it's shallow, if it's only about looking good for others or chasing surface level rewards, it won't last. Because the moment the journey gets hard, and it will get hard, you'll let go. But when your why is powerful, when it's rooted in something that touches your soul, you will endure storms, you will crawl through setbacks, you will push yourself through exhaustion, because giving up is no longer an option. Your why is your compass. It directs your actions. It gives meaning to your sacrifices. When you wake up early, when you grind late into the night, when you choose discipline over distraction, you're not just doing it for the task in front of you. You're doing it for the bigger reason that started you down this path. People lose sight of that. They get caught up in the small struggles, the daily frustrations, the temporary discomfort, and they forget the bigger picture. They forget the family they wanted to provide for, the freedom they wanted to create, the confidence they wanted to build, the example they wanted to set. That's why people quit. Not because they didn't have talent, not because they didn't have opportunity. They quit because they forgot why they started, and without that anchor, the storm swept them away. When you know your why, pain has a purpose. Sacrifice has meaning. Struggle becomes part of the story instead of a reason to stop. Imagine someone running a marathon. At mile 1, they're smiling, they're waving, but they're filled with energy. But by mile 15, by mile 20, the pain is setting in. Their legs burn, their lungs ache, their body is screaming at them to stop. The finish line feels far away. Why do they keep going? Not because it's comfortable, not because it's easy. They keep going because they have a reason that matters more than the pain. Maybe it's proving something to themselves. Maybe it's raising money for a cause they care about. Maybe it's showing their kids that quitting isn't an option. That reason, that why, is what pulls them forward when their body wants to collapse. Life works the same way. Every time you face resistance, your why will either push you forward or it will disappear. That's why you can't just set a goal and forget about it. You have to remind yourself daily why you're doing what you're doing. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Visualize it. Anchor it into your heart so deeply that no amount of struggle can shake it loose. Because struggle is guaranteed. Quitting is optional. And the difference between those who finish and those who fail isn't strength or intelligence, it's clarity of purpose. Your why gives you resilience. It helps you push past the moments where you feel like you're stuck. It's the voice inside that says, I'm not here for comfort, I'm here for growth. I'm not here for easy, I'm here for transformation. Without it, even small obstacles look massive. With it, even massive obstacles look like stepping stones. This is why some people thrive under pressure while others fold. They both face challenges, but one has a deeper reason to endure. Think about anyone you've ever admired, anyone who has built something great, anyone who has created change in their life or the lives of others. They didn't succeed because their journey was smooth. They succeeded because their why was unshakable. They had a reason that kept them moving forward when everything around them told them to stop. That's the difference between the people who make history and the people who disappear into the background. And here's the reality. You already have a why. Everyone does. The question is whether you're connected to it. Maybe your why is your family. Maybe it's your future. Maybe it's proving to yourself that you can rise after failure. Maybe it's creating freedom, building legacy, breaking cycles, or honoring the sacrifices of those who came before you. Whatever it is, you must hold it close because the world will try to make you forget. Comfort will try to make you forget. Doubt will try to make you forget. The grind will try to make you forget. But if you forget, you'll quit. And if you quit, you'll never see the version of yourself you were destined to become. Your why has to be big enough to outlast your feelings. Because feelings change. Motivation comes and goes. One day you'll feel unstoppable. The next you'll feel empty. But your why doesn't change. It's constant. It's the foundation you build on when the winds of life shift direction. It's the anchor that holds you steady when storms come crashing down. Without that anchor, you drift. With it, you endure. This is why so many people restart over and over again. They get excited, they set goals, they start the process, but as soon as the discomfort comes, they let it go. And then months later, they try again. They're stuck in a cycle of starting and stopping because they never attached themselves to a powerful why. They were chasing a feeling instead of anchoring themselves to a purpose. But the ones who break the cycle are the ones who say, I know why I'm here. I know what I want. I know who I'm becoming. And no matter how I feel, no matter how hard it gets, I will not stop. Or your why doesn't just fuel your journey, it transforms you. It turns you from someone who relies on motivation into someone who runs on conviction. It takes you from chasing results to living with purpose. And when you live with purpose, every step matters, every sacrifice matters, every setback matters, because it's all connected to the bigger picture you're fighting for. Discipline beats motivation. Sticking to the plan creates results. Motivation is powerful. It's exciting. It's the spark that makes you feel unstoppable in the beginning, But the truth is motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather, sometimes shining brightly and sometimes disappearing completely. If you rely only on motivation, you'll find yourself inconsistent and productive when you feel like it and lost when you don't. That's why discipline is the real separator. Discipline is what makes you show up when you're tired, when you're unmotivated, when you're overwhelmed. Discipline doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about your commitments. It doesn't ask if you're in the mood. It demands that you follow through with the promises you made to yourself. Most people start strong because of motivation, but they fall off because they never built discipline. They thought they'd always feel excited. They thought the energy would always be there, but life doesn't work like that. Some days you wake up ready to conquer the world, but other days you wake up exhausted, stressed, and doubting yourself. If you depend on motivation, those days will destroy your progress. If you depend on discipline, those days become just another step forward, because discipline is about action, not emotion. Discipline says, I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if you're scared. I don't care if you don't feel like it. You do it anyway. That's how results are created. Not by bursts of energy, but by consistent execution over time. Think of a person who wants to get in shape. Motivation might get them into the gym the first few weeks. They're excited about new clothes. They're excited about the idea of transformation. They're motivated by the vision of their future body. But then the soreness sets in, the progress slows, the excitement fades. This is the moment where people either quit or they shift into discipline. The disciplined person doesn't ask, do I feel like going to gym today? They go because it's what they do. They go because it's part of the plan. They go because they made a commitment to themselves. And over weeks, months, and years, and that discipline creates results so massive that people on the outside call it motivation, but on the inside it was discipline all along. Sticking to the plan requires discipline. A plan is only as powerful as your ability to follow it. Anybody can write down goals, anybody can create a strategy, but the ones who win are the ones who stick to the plan even when it stops being exciting. The reason so many people fail because they abandon the plan the moment it feels uncomfortable. They want shortcuts. They want instant gratification. They want results without the grind. But results don't come from random bursts of effort. They come from steady, consistent action, from staying true to the plan long after the excitement is gone. The plan doesn't care about your feelings. The plan doesn't care about your excuses. The plan only works if you stick to it. Discipline is what teaches you to trust yourself. Every time you follow through with your plan, you're telling yourself, I can rely on me. And that builds confidence. It builds strength. It builds identity. You stop being someone who starts and stops, who talks big but delivers small, and you become someone who is unshakable because you know you'll do what you said you would do. That kind of self-trust is rare, but it's built only through discipline. Motivation won't give you that because motivation is too inconsistent. But discipline practiced daily turns into character, and character creates destiny. The difference between people who achieve their goals and people who don't isn't intelligence, it isn't talent, it isn't luck, it's discipline. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but without discipline, knowledge is wasted. You can have all the passion in the world, but without discipline, passion fades. You can have the best plan ever written, but without discipline, that plan sits on a shelf collecting dust. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Every time you stick to the plan, you walk across that bridge. Every time you let emotions control you, you step backward. Discipline is also what carries you through adversity, because no plan survives perfectly. You will face setbacks, you will face obstacles, you will face failures. Motivation might carry you through one or two, but discipline carries you through all of them. Discipline says, I don't stop because it got hard, I adapt and keep moving. Discipline says, the plan may need adjustments, but I will not abandon it. That's the mindset of someone who succeeds long term. Because anyone can stay committed when it's easy, But discipline is what makes you stay committed when it's hard. And results are born in the hard moments, not the easy ones. Think about the greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, creators. Do you think they're motivated every day? Do you think they wake up every morning feeling inspired and excited? Absolutely not. But they are disciplined. They have trained themselves to show up whether they feel like it or not. They know that greatness is not about intensity. It's about consistency. It's not about doing something once with passion. It's about doing over and over again with discipline. And that is what separates them from the millions of people who start strong but never finish. Sticking to the plan is also about honoring your future self. The actions you take today may not give you immediate results, but discipline allows you to trust that what you're doing now is shaping what you will become. Discipline is about planting seeds every day, even when you don't see the harvest yet. Motivation wants the harvest instantly. Discipline says, plant today, water tomorrow, stay patient, stay consistent, the results will come. That is how transformation works. It is slow, it is steady, it is often invisible in the beginning, but over time it becomes undeniable. The body changes, the mindset changes, the circumstances change, the life changes. And all of it is built on the foundation of discipline. People who lack discipline chase feelings, and feelings lie. They say, I don't feel like working today. I don't feel like training today. I don't feel like following the plan today. And because they obey those feelings, they build a habit of inconsistency. Then they wonder why nothing changes. They wonder why they're stuck in the same place year after year. But people with discipline don't let feelings dictate their actions. They let their commitments dictate their actions. They stick to the plan because they understand that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. They understand that emotions are fleeting, but habits are lasting. Discipline builds habits, and habits build destiny. The beauty of discipline is that it compounds. The first time you force yourself to follow through, it's hard. The second time, it's still uncomfortable. But the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, discipline stops feeling like force and starts feeling like identity. You no longer say, I'm trying to stick to the plan. You simply say, this is who I am. This is what I do. And that's the most powerful place you can reach. Because once discipline becomes part of who you are, sticking to the plan no longer requires massive effort. It becomes automatic. It becomes your standard. And when your standard is discipline, results are inevitable. Adversity tests your commitment. Resilience proves your strength. Every single journey worth taking comes with obstacles, and those obstacles are not accidents. They are part of the process. Life does not hand out achievements without resistance. The moment you decide to pursue something greater than yourself, challenges appear. It might be financial struggle. It might be health issues. It might be rejection, doubt, criticism, or failure, but adversity is guaranteed. The real question is whether you will let that adversity break you or build you. Commitment is easy when everything goes smoothly, when the path is clear and the progress is visible. But real commitment is only revealed when you're knocked down, when the plan doesn't go your way, when you're forced to face the discomfort and pain that most people run from. That's where resilience is born. When you say you want something, the world will ask, how bad do you want it? And adversity is the test. Do you want it enough to keep going when you're tired? Do you want enough to keep pushing when nothing seems to be working? Do you want enough to rise again after failing? That's commitment. Not words, not hype, not declarations. Commitment is action when it's inconvenient. Commitment is consistency when it's uncomfortable. Commitment is staying in the fight when you could walk away. And adversity is the mirror that shows you the truth. Are you really committed, or were you only interested when it was easy? Resilience is the proof of strength. It's the ability to take a hit and keep moving forward, to be disappointed and still keep working, to be rejected and still believe. Resilience is not about avoiding pain. It's about enduring it without losing yourself. And resilience is not about being immune to failure. It's about refusing to let failure define you. People think strength is about never falling, but real strength is about rising every time you fall. Every setback is an opportunity to demonstrate resilience. Every obstacle is a chance to prove that you will not be broken. And the more resilient you are, the more unstoppable you become, because nothing can keep you down permanently. Look at anyone who has achieved greatness, and you will see a story filled with adversity. You will see moments of doubt, moments of despair, moments where everything seemed lost. But what separated them from the rest was not luck. It was resilience. They faced rejection after rejection and kept knocking on the door. They faced failure after failure and kept rebuilding. They faced setbacks that would have crushed ordinary people, but they refused to quit. That is what resilience looks like in practice. It is not glamorous. It is not comfortable. It is often lonely and painful, but it forges a level of strength that cannot be shaken. Adversity strips away the weak reasons and exposes the truth of why you're here. When things are easy, you can pretend you're committed. You can say the right words. You can post about your goals. You can look like you're serious. But when life hits you hard, all the pretending disappears. In that moment, you either stand or you collapse. And when you stand, when you prove that no matter how hard it gets, you will not back down, you discover a strength you didn't know you had. That discovery changes you forever. Because once you know you can survive the storm, you stop fearing the rain. Resilience is built, not gifted. It's built through repetition, through facing challenges again and again and refusing to quit. Every time you endure, you build resilience. Every time you refuse to let adversity define you, you get stronger. Resilience is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more powerful it becomes. The first setback may feel like it crushes you. The second may shake you, but by the 10th or the 20th, you've developed the strength to bounce back faster, stronger, more determined. That's the gift of resilience. It doesn't remove the pain, but it transforms the way you respond to it. Commitment without adversity is untested. It's easy to commit when the sun is shining, when everything is in your favor, when you're winning. But adversity strips away illusions and asks, will you still be here when it hurts? That's why adversity is not the enemy. It's the proving ground. It's the fire that forges steel. Without it, commitment is just words. With it, commitment becomes unbreakable. Resilience is also contagious. When people see you refuse to quit, when they see you rise after falling, when they see you endure what would break most, they are inspired. Your resilience becomes an example, a light in the dark, a reminder to others that they can survive too. This is why the most powerful leaders, the most inspiring figures, the most admired individuals are not those who had an easy journey, but those who faced impossible odds and refused to stop. Their resilience spoke louder than their victories, because the victories were only possible through resilience. Adversity will also reveal what you truly value. If your commitment is shallow, adversity will push you away. If your commitment is deep, adversity will push you deeper. When everything is against you, the only thing that keeps you moving is the vision you hold inside. That vision, combined with resilience, creates a force that cannot be stopped. You may be delayed, you may be bruised, you may be knocked down, but you cannot be defeated, because resilience is not about speed. It's about persistence. It's about saying, I will get there no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times I fail, no matter how many obstacles stand in my way. Think about a mountain. Climbing it will test you. The higher you go, the thinner the air, the harsher the conditions, the more exhausted you feel. Motivation won't carry you to the summit. Discipline will take you part of the way. But resilience is what makes you push through when your body wants to quit, when the storm hits, when the path disappears. Resilience says, I didn't come this far to stop here. That's the level of strength adversity forces you to find. And when you finally look back, when you see how many storms you survived, you realize the strength you carry is far greater than the strength you once believed you had. Resilience is also the foundation of growth. Every time adversity hits, you learn something new. You learn about patience. You learn about persistence. You learn about adaptability. You gain wisdom that cannot be taught in comfort. Adversity is the classroom where resilience is the lesson, and every lesson makes you stronger. This is why some people who have gone through the hardest battles become the strongest, most grounded, most unstoppable individuals. They learned resilience the hard way, and that resilience became their armor, their weapon, their power. Adversity doesn't disappear when you grow, it just changes form. At every level of success, new challenges arrive. And at every level, resilience is the currency that buys you the right to move forward. You cannot escape adversity, but you can master resilience. And when you master resilience, adversity becomes just another step, not the end of the road. Consistency over time transforms vision into reality. Big goals, massive dreams, and bold visions are not achieved in a single day, a single week, or even a single month. They require a level of steady and relentless commitment that stretches far beyond the initial excitement. Most people underestimate the power of consistency. They think they need intensity. They think they need huge bursts of energy. But the truth is, intensity may start the fire, yet consistency is what keeps it burning. Consistency is the quiet, unglamorous force that builds momentum brick by brick, step by step, until one day the vision you imagine becomes tangible reality. Consistency is not about doing something once in a while. It's about showing up again and again, even when no one is watching, even when there is no applause, even when the results are invisible. It's about trusting that each small action, each repeated behavior, each disciplined choice is stacking up over time. It's the person who goes to the gym day after day, even when progress is slow, who eventually transforms their body. It's the entrepreneur who works on their business every single day, even through the failures, who eventually creates success. It's the writer who writes a page every day, who eventually finishes the book. The principle never changes. Consistency compounds. The biggest enemy of consistency is impatience. People want results overnight. They want transformation without the time, success without the sacrifice, growth without the grind. And when they don't see instant results, they give up, assuming the plan doesn't work. But reality is built on time. The most extraordinary transformations happen quietly, hidden behind months and years of steady effort. Consistency may feel slow, but it is steady. It may feel small, but it is powerful, because every action repeated becomes a habit, and every habit shapes identity, and identity builds destiny. Your consistent actions today are not just things you do. They are the blueprint of who you are becoming. Vision without consistency is just a dream. Anybody can imagine a better future. Anybody can visualize success. But unless you back that vision with daily consistent action, it will remain nothing more than a wish. Consistency is what bridges the gap between imagination and creation. It takes what is in your mind and brings it into the world. And the beauty of consistency is that it doesn't demand perfection. You don't need to be flawless. You don't need to win every day. You only need to keep showing up. Missing one day won't ruin you, but quitting will. Success is never about doing something perfectly. It's about doing it consistently. Consistency is also what builds trust in yourself and trust from others. Every time you show up for yourself, you prove that you can rely on you. That creates confidence. That creates momentum. That creates an internal standard where you no longer see consistency as effort, but as identity. People around you notice as well. They see you stick to your word. They see you follow through, and they see you stay committed long after others have given up. And that trust, that credibility, that reputation is worth more than any quick win, because consistency signals reliability, and reliability is rare in a world where most people stop as soon as things get hard. The reason consistency transforms vision into reality is because success is not a single event. It is a process. It is not one action. It is a series of actions repeated over time. A single workout doesn't make you fit. A single healthy meal doesn't change your body. A single day of effort doesn't create success. But repeated workouts, repeated meals, repeated days of effort done consistently reshape your life. This is why people often overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. They expect giant change in days, but they fail to recognize the unstoppable power of consistent action compounded over time. Consistency also protects you from the highs and lows of emotion. Motivation will rise and fall. Some days you'll feel unstoppable, some days you'll feel defeated. But consistency keeps you steady. It keeps you moving when emotions would otherwise paralyze you. It acts as a stabilizer, a force that keeps you aligned with the plan regardless of how you feel in the moment. That's why consistency is more powerful than bursts of inspiration, because inspiration is fragile, but consistency is durable. Consistency doesn't depend on feelings, it depends on decisions. And when your decisions are anchored in consistency, your results are inevitable. Think about water dripping on stone. A single drop does nothing. 10 drops do nothing. But over time, drip by drip, that water carves into solid rock. That's the power of consistency. It doesn't look powerful in the short term, but in the long term, it shapes even the hardest surfaces. Your life works the same way. Small actions repeated consistently will shape your future, no matter how impossible it looks in the beginning. It's not about the size of the action. It's about the repetition of it. Consistency turns small habits into unstoppable transformations. Consistency is also the foundation of mastery. No one becomes great by practicing occasionally. Greatness comes from repetition, from refining the craft day after day, year after year. It's the musician who practices scales daily who becomes a master of sound. It's the athlete who trains consistently who becomes world class. It's the speaker who works on their voice, their message, their delivery every single day who inspires millions. Mastery is not talent alone. Mastery is consistency applied to talent over time. Without consistency, talent remains potential. With consistency, potential turns into power. Another truth about consistency is that it multiplies effort. When you act inconsistently, you are constantly starting over. You gain a little progress, then lose it, then start again. That cycle keeps you stuck in the same place, frustrated and exhausted. But when you act consistently, your progress compounds. Each day builds on the one before. Each action stacks with the previous, and momentum grows. Momentum is born from consistency, and once you have momentum, the effort feels lighter, the process feels smoother, the progress feels faster. That's why the hardest part is always the beginning, because consistency hasn't yet had time to compound. But once it does, it feels unstoppable. Consistency also builds resilience. When you commit to daily action, you learn how to push through boredom, through discomfort, through the desire to quit. You train yourself to keep moving even when results are invisible. That mental strength carries into every area of life. Consistency teaches patience, it teaches endurance, it teaches perseverance. It teaches you that lasting success isn't about quick wins, but about refusing to stop showing up. And that resilience becomes part of who you are. You become someone who can be trusted to endure, someone who can be trusted to finish what you start. Vision without consistency leads to regret. A regret from knowing you could have been more, you could have achieved more, you could have lived the life you dreamed of, but you lacked the patience to stay consistent. On the other hand, vision with consistency leads to pride. The pride of looking back and realizing that every step, every day, every action, no matter how small, was part of building something extraordinary. The pride of knowing that your reality today exists because of your consistency yesterday. The pride of seeing your vision no longer as a dream, but as your life. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.